Good morning and happy Friday. It's been a minute. I hope y'all who've been watching have enjoyed our replays of our past, I think it's 104 episodes so far. We're happy to say we're now on Spotify and LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. What else am I missing? Of course, YouTube. You're going to want to stay tuned to this episode because I'm going to not only help you fight inflation with a huge bonus discount for anyone who sends me an email on paint and stain for Sherwin-Williams, but you're going to get some valuable information that we are going to share with you on color and how color affects not only our interior spaces in our homes, but our interior head spaces as well, i.e. the psychology of color. So if we haven't met, I'm KAT Troulinos, Ta-da by KAT, CEO and visionary, Next Level Staging and Design, helping you live by design. And our motto is to live in the rhythm of possibility. And I just want to, at the top of the show, put out to you all, anyone that you know who might be a good guest on our show, who has their magic mojo, juju to share, would love to talk to them. And also share with us what topics. We are open to all topics except politics and probably religion, but definitely politics. But we have had conversations regarding interior design, color, real estate, sex, you name it. So drop a note if there's a subject that you'd like us to chat about and share with you, Jeff and I, Jeff being my illustrious co-host, my miracle online of 25 years, and business partner. So without further ado, and I'm timing this from another room, but I would like to bring on Jeff at this point. Let's see.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. And I love the new background with the color wheel and the ta-da.
You know,
Jeff with that.
Just for today.
Is it just for today?
Yes, okay. It's for the color episode.
For the color wheel episode, but I like the one you did earlier when we were testing. I think we should integrate that somehow. So a little background on me. Color is complicated. My clients hear me say that all the time, and which is why I've taken the time, resources and energy to get not one, not two, but 3 master certifications, which really was just so beneficial for me because the nuances of color are complicated. And it was very beneficial to have the nuances from 3 different master instructors and to then, integrate and meld into the complexities of color. I do a lot of color consultations mixed in with my design clients, and of course design and staging color is involved. Anyone who knows me, I'm not a I'm not a bowls of oatmeal gray on gray staging professional. I love color, and I think one of the main reasons why I love color is because I am confident. In fact, the first training, Joanne Lynette Weary is, confident color system is what we were taught. And that's really says it all, because I think many of us who have an inclination, kind of a basic talent for color design, then in getting an education or a credential, it just takes that level up and really allows you to broaden your your color spectrum, no pun intended, much more. In fact, I want to start with the first slide here. I never met a color I didn't like. In fact, this is a slide from Joanne's Confident Color System. If you're out there and you want to learn more about color, I took it in person at a ICOS conference right after the conference, but I believe Joanne has those color courses also online. Excuse me. Color can be tricky when you're trying to do it online. I often have to share with clients, that I'm going to send you some renderings. If they need to have renderings, then my assistant creates renderings. If this is digital, I mean, even the cards, when you go into the paint store, the card, they've got artificial lighting. We'll talk about that later, how lighting affects color. But you can only do so much putting it digitally, printing it on paper. There are so many elements that affect color when you get into the actual home, whether it's exterior or interior. And then, of course, excuse me, based on what direction does the home face, is there foliage out there, what type of foliage, all of that, because color likes a party and it doesn't exist in a vacuum. So we have to take everything into consideration, including what I call fixed elements when we're doing the interior of the home or the exterior. If there's brick, I did one yesterday where the brick is staying. So we had to look at those various colors within the brick to make sure that we came up with something that complemented and completed the look, changing the look, completed it, but did not compete. And we'll talk about that later, how it's, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of flippers and investors make in choosing the wrong color temperature is usually the biggest mistake that I see. So, Jeff, before I go into this next slide, and I've edited this presentation so that, it's not geared towards staging, because I really want to talk about how color affects our emotions. Was there anything that you wanted to interject before I go to this next slide?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, many people, are, excuse me, aware that, red is passionate, it's dramatic, it's energizing. You see it, of course, it gets your attention in marketing and advertising. So, that's going to create that emotion and even action. Blue, no doubt, is calming. It's relaxing, it's refreshing, it's tranquil. In fact, studies show that blue is the most liked, blue and green actually, is the most liked color for humans. And there's no surprise there. The sky is blue most of the time. The ocean is blue most of the time. And of course, skipping down to green, it's cleansing, it's renewal, it's growth, it's earth, it's trees, it's grass. So I don't think it's any big surprise that, if you want to emote those types of feelings in your space, that you may want to integrate the greens and the blues. Yellow is warming, cheerful, uplifting. However, we had a study done not too long ago that you'll lose money if you do your kitchen yellow, so you may want to skip doing the kitchen yellow. Doesn't mean you can't have yellow in your space. If you do the break up the color, have two main colors and some accent colors. Orange, obviously, I'm kind of wearing a red orange today, a kind of bright iridescent orange, which I thought was fitting for doing a color segment here, because I just put it on and it made me cheerful and uplifted me, even through our technical difficulties, which Jeff overcame. And we talked about green. So those are the overall color emotions and how color affects our emotions. Another study that I had shared in the past is that, with design and staging, that decisions are made on color more than anything else. And the potential decision maker may not realize that it's a subliminal, just like the old adage, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. We have 6 to 9 seconds to grab someone's attention, whether we're meeting them, going in their home, walking by, driving by, looking at the exterior. I mean, when I was in new home sales, I had folks who loved the model I took them to see the same plan, and they just hated the outside. They couldn't really decipher why. But when you drill down to it, it was color. 9 times out of 10, it was because there was like a poo-poo brown on the exterior that didn't resonate well. So it isn't the color, it's your reaction to color. So, in looking at this slide, which chair would you sit in? And there's no right or wrong. And actually that could change from day to day, because you might feel drawn to a yellow chair one day and a green chair another day. So definitely it affects our mood and what mood we're looking to go towards. So this kind of tags with the previous dialogue, and that is that color is responsible for over 60% of decision making and 75% of design mistakes. Color's complicated, like I said, but it keeps me busy. So, so let's talk about a little bit about, color. And Joanne taught this. This is actually a slide from her class, because it's not the color so much, it's the saturation or the intensity that really makes a difference. So we do a kind of a color test to kind of see where a client is comfortable in the saturation or the intensity, because this is the same color but in muted. Okay, so that plays a huge factor. If I could divide, I would say the biggest color mistake, it would be in cool and warm. Okay. If you cross those over, unless you do it in threes intentionally, so it looks by design, because sometimes you can have what's called a fixed element. Let's say a counter. It was looked at one yesterday. It had cool and warm colors and kind of an older granite that you see, but we wanted to up-level other parts of the area it was surrounding. So in that case, you just have to go with something that plays well with cool or warm. Biggest mistake I see in a lot of flippers is they just go in and go, well, we're seeing it fade off, but the gray. Oh, let's just do a gray. Everything's gray, which that's kind of passe at this point. But they would pick a cool gray with warm elements, and it just looked like, this doesn't quite look right. But they couldn't really put their finger on it, and the reason is because they went out of the temperature line and crossed that line. So warm and cool, you want to look at warm and cool. So the color secret is to mix colors, and I've used this term again, that complete, not compete, and you can do that. The biggest factor, like I said, is to stay in the color temperature, the correct color temperature. So I've got some more slides here, but I want to bring in this slide that I pulled out when I was putting together a presentation for a local builder association with a colleague of mine and doing research. I've stumbled upon this, and I hope that you can read it. I will read it to you, of course, for people who are just listening as well. But this really blew me away in terms of, you believe, that we are all living and breathing energy and frequency, okay? And everything around us is adamant and inanimate. So this illustrates the power of color. So in comparison, sound has power. The human ear has a range of 16 to 40,000 vibrations per second. That's sound. We all know how powerful sound is in music, etc. Now let's take that in comparison to light and color. The light and color go hand in hand, and you'll hear me talk about that. That color will affect dramatically how the color plays, how it reads. So light and color are at a 500, now get this, 500 billion BPS. as opposed to up to 40,000 vibrations per second. That frequency and energy, whether you realize it or not, that's what we all are. Light and color are at 500 million vibrations per second. Well, gosh, there's no surprise then, is there, Jeff, why color is a driving factor in changing our moods and having us make decisions? Would you agree with that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that the frequency for sound has a matching color, but they're vibrating at a much different speed. So although they are one visual, one being auditory, they function similar. And the research that I've done came off rainbow music over in Australia. And I'll share this with everyone, just to kind of give you an idea. We know standard A tuning in the world right now is 440 hertz. Okay, so that means it's 440 vibration, right?
Right.
And hertz. When you look at how irrelevant to color of that, the A440 is in red color. And the hertz, however, it's in 400 to 484 THz. That T stands for billion. So in sense of light vibrating, the frequency is much more in sense of frequency and the beat of how fast it's vibrating compared to auditory, what we receive from the ear. But it's very comprehensive. The 7 notes that works with the colors, the transitional colors. Now, I don't know, Kat, you want to talk a little bit about transitional colors? The same 7 main colors is also what we see in the chakra, right? 7
right.
main.
I'm gonna add here. Yeah, right now the
okay,
main colors.
there you go.
Yeah, and the color meanings.
So there's 7 whole tones in music. So this isn't an accident. This is not coincidental. This is actually by design, right? And this is where.
So Jeff, not to interrupt you, but we have color meanings here, and I've never seen one so elaborate that had the grays, blacks, white, pink, and we all know that right. Black's not a color. But what are the colors? I think it goes to the orange, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What would be after orange to make the 7th color?
Red, orange, yellow, green, green, blue. So orange goes to red.
Well, there's red. So 1.
Right. So from red goes to orange. Orange goes to yellow.
Right. But I'm saying out of this chart, where are the 7 colors?
The 7 colors is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet.
Indigo and violet. So interesting that you say that. And I think indigo and violet falls into the purple. And that's interesting that 3 colors are lumped together under purple, because in my research, violet waves carry the most, maybe that's why we love purple so much, it's our family color. Violet waves carry the most energy because they have the shortest wavelength and the highest frequency in the visible light spectrum. Never knew that. Just always, was attracted. And I mean, when I was 20, the first thing I bought with my first paycheck was a purple flocked, velvet flocked bedspread. It was like my
also purple represents consciousness in the chakra. Is the top, right?
Yes.
So it's not surprising that when you look at in the color chart meanings of royalty, wisdom, bravery, spirituality, uniqueness. I mean, these are all driven with the consciousness philosophy, right?
Absolutely.
And when you look at red, which is the bottom, the first of the chakra, that what we in Qigong call the stove, the belly, right? Its passion is the confidence, the energy, the rage, the danger. Even though it says that in the color meanings, but we all know that the red is the ultimate animal instinct. All right. It is the most primitive, the sexual drive. The sex drive comes from the red. So
Primal.
that's the
Yes.
very bottom of it.
It's primal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was happy to see that they included white, which obviously is purity, simplicity, neutrality.
Right.
But one color in my research that I pulled up, Jeff, that I thought was very interesting. And again, as I said, we don't talk about politics or religion, but Christ consciousness is not really a religion. It's a philosophy. But gold, and we have a lot of gold in our home too, don't we? And in staging and design, we use mixed metals and integrate gold as the anchor always. So in my research, I found that they stated gold is the color most utilized to symbolize divine connection, and each figure connected to Christ, including Jesus himself, has a golden halo drawn around their head to show their loyalty to Jesus during his crucifixion. Didn't know that. The most symbolic color in this painting, they're not showing a painting, but would be red, and that's going back to the red with passion. But I didn't know that about gold. Of course, when you think about it in retrospect, you go, yeah, there's gold halos. There's, a lot of gold. Of course, gold is, riches and things like that. But I never heard it anchored and tied to the divine connection, which I thought was really interesting.
Gold is the precious metal that everybody, seeks the value of it. And if you are into the UAP, UFO, all that direction of that information, you realize that there's a lot of story about mining gold and the history of the Anunnaki creating from research of Zachariah Sitchin talks about why they were here in America, on the planet Earth, to mine the precious metal, because gold is a conduit. Gold is used, prevalent through our technologies, especially in transference of energy and information. So evidently, gold is also a capability to repair a destructive atmosphere in a solar system. So these are all research done by Zachariah Sitchin out of the Sumerian tablets. This is very far away, but I also recognize gold is an alloy. So therefore, in sense of color, it doesn't really have color. You know what I mean? It's a different energy. Well,
in the metallic sense, yes. When you get into the color wheel, of course, then we talk about golds. They fall, in this realm in the color wheel, which is your oranges and your yellows, etc.
Right. I think this color wheel really works sympathetically with the universe, with the chakra. I mean, if you look at also the chakra works with the rainbow, right?
Yep.
And the rainbow is the light that gets filtered, if you will, through the ultraviolet rays. How we look at white light, once you filter that in certain frequencies, you'll see the 7-color divide.
Yes.
And there's a lot
rainbow, right? When we see a rainbow, that's actually what's happening. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that goes on with the actual color, and I think there's 2 separate groups in regards to the metallurgy versus the primary colors that works with what we exist in: emotions, energy, frequency, the chakra of all of us, in sense of unity.
Absolutely, because it is a conduit, and that's what I thought was really interesting when I pulled up this page, that they call it a color. Gold is used to symbolize the divine connection. We think of it, more that kind of gold as a precious metal, which we do use in our interior spaces, but I never heard it really referenced and pointed out to the divine connection. So I thought that was very interesting.
Logically, it seems like it makes sense, doesn't it? If it's a conduit, absolutely. And then
a conduit to the divine, absolutely, and then halo to the divine connection. I mean,
right.
It just makes perfect
you have to look
sense.
at also the ritualistic and the traditions of so many civilizations. I mean, all the way back to Egyptians. Why is it such, use of the gold, right?
Yep.
In regards to almost everything they have in royalty, in the pecking order of their society. And this goes all the way to South America as well. South America has a lot of gold representing. One of the things that most people don't know about is, of course, is Africa. Africa has a rich, so-called civilized history using metallurgy and as well as the unity of the people in their growth. What I think happens somewhere, somehow between the last several hundred years, that they start to stifle that. And that's why we don't hear much when we talk about gold, we talk about energy and so forth. You get the pyramid from Egypt, right? You get also the pyramid down in the south, but nobody ever talks about anything else in regards to the energy of it. But there, make no bones, all 7 continents has pyramids, and they all generate energy. That is the purpose of it. And it aligns.
Yeah, and we can harness that energy because
right.
We are co-creators with Source. We're going to skip to something a little more pragmatic here now with this next slide. If you're looking to sell or dwell and up-level your space, this one was done actually, just a couple of years ago. Many of you may have the judge's molding with, outdated coloring. So you want to neutralize. Many people know that. It doesn't have to be stark white. I think a lot of people are getting really tired with, just everything is just white, which even white can be complicated. I had a client not too long ago say, yeah, I need help with this room and that room and that room, but the rest of the house is going to be all white, so I'm good with that. I said, do you know how many shades and color temperatures of white there are? We might want to start with that. So, but definitely this is an obvious one that we can neutralize, which is exactly what we did to get this whole house sold. We updated it with some on-trend furnishings. And just a quick little tip for you homeowners, when you've got the judge's molding, we've got it, I don't know if you can see it back here. Yeah, right here. So just rather than rip it off, then you've got to repair the whole wall and re-plaster it, etc. Just paint it all the same color and it will disappear. And so that's your first handy tip for the day. This is the same home. Again, just dated, beautiful, beautiful home, picture windows, lots of molding, etc. But just dated and not really warranting the 1.4 million that it was asking for. This is one of my favorite pictures because it's in Barb Schwartz's book, Staging the World, at the top of one chapter. So if you're interested in staging, want to hear about 100 different staging professionals' backstories, pick that up on Amazon, Staging the World. But yeah, so this just made, as you can see, taking down the drapes, heavy drapes, and swapping it out with something more contemporary. Even though, the counters are still, not the most updated, but that's not what you look at, when the power of paint and staging is just incredible. So another little tip on color is you want to triangulate. I love that word. Color, you want to create a triangle. So what does that mean? North, south, east, west. We won't go into the function, power, skyline, but basically you want to, it keeps your eye moving. So if you walk in and there's just a heavy floral on the coffee table and no other color, you're shrinking the room. Your eye goes to the coffee table. So you want to triangulate at least in 3 directions, your function, your power, and possibly your skyline, to illuminate the space and make it look larger. I can't even read this. I think this is talking about putting color in different angles. Now, my taste, I think this is a bit much, but the illustration is to really have your color at least 3 places, so it looks intentional. If not, it looks like you have too much color and you kind of just did it haphazardly. So this is just reiterating, you don't want to use a chair rail as an accent. That will date. Accent walls are dated. It can date the space. Now, this could be, a fun teenage room. I think it wouldn't be too bad with the black and the pink for a teenage room. But you can't see too much because of my beautiful angel wings. But this is an actual accent wall. The rest of it is, I think it's gossamer veil. But it's not, it's not a drastic shade. So it kind of frames my desk and where I do my podcasts. So it's not like, if that's the first thing you notice when you walk in a room, it's probably too much. Oh, well, we're going to have a door prize, but it's not time for that yet. And actually, it's not a door prize. Each and every one of you will receive this if you stay tuned to hear how to get it. And I'll tell you what it is in a minute. So I'm going to just briefly, and then Jeff, I'll take it to you. I want to talk about green and what color means spirituality. So blue, no surprise, represents trustworthiness, peace, calm, serenity, stability, love, energy. I'm sorry, I'm skipping. Red is love and energy. Danger, as you mentioned, Jeff, and aggression. Yellow is happiness, energy, optimism. If you're feeling down, put on a yellow shirt or a yellow hat. It'll make you feel happier. Green, no surprise here, is nature. It's growth. It's harmony. It's peace, which is part of what inspired me to create KAT's Eye and Decor, where we create custom biophilic. I wish I had a sample. I don't. It's in the car or hanging on my wall. But I source preserved mosses from all over the world and create wall decor as well as table decor. Our most recent was a huge, which I have one on my table, and I made 2 for clients, and it's they had a huge table, 72-inch round bowl with bun moss, just exquisite. And they've done studies, and it's proven that whether it's preserved, which this is preserved, so good news is there's zero maintenance, or not, it has a calming effect. It lowers your blood pressure. It calms you. It gives you a feeling of peace. And I just love the fact of, bringing the outdoors in. So many of us, have to spend so much time inside, especially those of us in Houston. And I love my air conditioning. So in between going to my hot warehouse. Hey, Adriana, she's in the hot warehouse today. So bless you, Adriana. So yes, it brings the outdoors in, and it's like your home is giving you a big hug. And who doesn't like a big hug? Description here that I pulled up, green is the color of life. It's renewal, it's nature and energy. It has a healing power, and it's the most relaxing color for the eye to view. And I'm sure that's why the studies have proven, that it actually lowers your heart rate and relieves anxiety, etc. Right here. Helps alleviate anxiety, depression, and nervousness. Green is new growth, rebirth, and harmony. And who doesn't want any of those things? So that's all I have, Jeff. Let me see. Yeah, that's all I have before and we're right at about 34 minutes. So before I announce how our viewers can receive this door prize, and it's not, luck of the draw, you all will, all those who are listening and do what I say to do. So any final thoughts, Jeff, that you wanted to share?
Yeah, if anybody who's watching this podcast is interested in more information and maybe even discussion and have questions, please email us. or drop us a message on YouTube. It's on under the live tab.
Yep, I've got my card right here.
Yeah.
If you want a free consultation, I'm sorry, a free discovery call to set up a consultation, whether it's on-site or not, Set Out by KAT is full service color staging and design. And then also, if you or someone think would be a good candidate for our show, we are looking to interview guests to see if we're a good fit. And I love sharing platforms with folks, of all types of businesses and ventures, and especially solopreneurs. I love to share and lift them up. So, and again, let us know if there's something, a topic that you would like us to talk about. And again, we'll talk about just almost anything except for politics.
Okay, so let me add one more thing to this. Like I said, the color is vibrating faster than the frequency that you hear in music. Although they have correlations of the two, you have to recognize that your brain can process this similar to how you would feel when you're hearing a song. And when you want to incorporate the maximum use of the color and the sound, this is what we do in my house. We have a certain color that brings a certain calmness into the master bedroom. We have a frequency piped into a stereo sound behind the headboard that brings it down to a certain relaxation frequency. These are all very applicable and can be designed for your home for next level living, right?
Yes,
So,
and I'm glad you mentioned that, Jeff, because I failed to mention that when we custom create our biophilic pieces, that it is done while playing the 432 hertz in the room.
Yeah, we just so everybody knows, we work on a lot of projects. Like I'm writing a book that is also infused with frequency and color.
Well, I think everything we do is.
Yeah, we do this consciously by design, so we can offer this. Because if you recognize, if you just arbitrarily throwing in combinations and not really pay attention to, it's very confusing. It's not harmonizing in the message you're trying to get across or the intentions you're trying to get across. And we're very much aware that when we put out something, that we want to make sure that the intentions are met and the results are optimal. So with that being said, that there is a lot of information in regards to frequency and color, frequency and auditory, and how it affects you. And with that being said, I mean, we could do this for 2 hours, but
we could, and we'll do a follow-up if y'all want to. We've got a plethora of information and knowledge on all levels of this, but we would love to hear from you. So please share, comment, and thank you for taking time out of your day to be a part of our day. And I just wish for you to live by design and live in color, any color. Pick the color. Until next time, have a fabulous weekend and go out and make it a great day. Bye, Jeff.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.